Good evening, everybody. Welcome to LOCPOD,
Wow.
Ukraine's #1 podcast.
Ukraine?
Oh, no, I had Ukraine on the mind.
You had like an evening
No, I was
voice?
looking at that lady that got killed by Alec Baldwin, and I was
Good
thinking
evening.
Ukraine.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That was something.
Yeah, that's a bad day for Alec Baldwin, and it's a worse day for her and the other person that got shot. It's very, very tragic.
I'm anxious to see what the facts are around that. Like, what are the rules about a prop gun on a set?
I imagine he was shooting what he thought was a prop gun in the middle of a scene.
No, how could you shoot the cinematographer and a director in
Because,
the middle
like,
of a
you're
scene?
not thinking
They're
about
not in
it.
the scene.
But what I'm saying is he could have been 20 feet away from him. It could have been like a stray shot like you get in the streets.
I mean, the director photographer is looking
Usually-
down a camera, and maybe he's shooting towards the camera.
Right.
Wow.
Right. Exactly.
But
Like, and he thought it was a blank, I imagine, and it wasn't.
Well,
And
even blanks can still shoot out projectiles.
Really?
It still has a cap.
so what? Like there's something like lodged in the barrel, and then when the blank fired, it like
Right.
But how could that be? That'd be every time you fire a prop gun in a
well, you probably have to
Western-
like clear it and make sure there's nothing in the chamber.
Yeah, I don't know. This
You
is
know?
going to be interesting because I'm sure there's like rules in cinematography about, or in movies or whatever, about like this is how you get ready to shoot a prop gun.
Dude.
And if you didn't follow those rules,
But like, what is in a prop gun where you can fatally shoot? Is it the cap? Does it
is a
take
cap.
real
It's
bullets?
Like no, it doesn't take real bullets.
Okay.
It's like the same.
It's
thing
like the
happened on
gunpowder
on
without the projectile, right?
then
This
how could it
happened
kill someone?
on the set of The Crow with
Crow.
Brandon Lee.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But didn't they put it right up against her head or something like
No, they
that?
put it right. He put his hand on the front, and it went through. The cap went through his hand and into his head.
Whoa.
That's not good.
All
No,
right,
so
there's
the
a
cap.
history
I
of
mean,
these things.
it's not
Right.
just loose powder. It's like a cap that
Oh,
you put
so the
into
cap-
the gum,
the
and
ca-
so the top of the cap, it's like usually plastic. Probably is what was the projectile.
But it's like going like.
But if it
1,000 miles an
ignites,
hour.
it still can. Usually it doesn't, but sometimes there's still a chance that it can go out the front of the gun.
I just think there's got to be like some guy, like
Well-
pyrotechnic guy or somebody that
Right.
Here it is, Kevin. Kelly Mickey, a Hammond police officer, right?
she would know.
She said there's a prop master that handles it, and then it's supposed to be double checked when handed to the actor.
Right. So the
something
actor-
went wrong.
The
Yeah, so
actor
they
thinks
have to
he's got a
look
clean
through-
gun. It's not, so
Yeah.
it doesn't sound like that's the case. That Alec Baldwin, he thought
Sounds
he
like
had
they
a
were
clean gun.
cutting corners.
So
Right. Somebody's in trouble, but-
Right. So if there are rules like this, right, then the question first becomes: did the prop master check the gun and
Right.
did he hand it to Alec? If
They're-
that's the case, then to me, Alec did nothing wrong.
He's just the one that pulled the trigger,
right.
unfortunately.
Right. I mean, from a criminal standpoint,
Right.
not even a
Well,
reckless
I
standpoint.
agree with you. I don't think there could be criminal
But
intent.
there's no intent, right?
Right.
There's no mens rea.
Right.
But you could also act recklessly, like for example, if he didn't
But
follow
like,
the rules.
he's an actor following a script,
Right.
and then pointing a gun. If we're using Lindsay's logic at the camera, and he pulls a trigger on a blank gun, and so he thinks, but somebody that gave it to him messed up.
If that's the facts. If the
Right.
facts are he didn't talk to the prop master, the prop master never checked it, he blew off the prop master, he was screwing around before the scene.
Right.
You know, those are all potential where
Exactly.
he could be acting recklessly, and you can get charged reckless.
And by the way,
reckless
you know,
conduct.
look at the picture of Alec Baldwin. They're out in the middle of the
Oh,
desert.
Look at
So
that.
there could be like a rock that got into the, you know, who knows what it was, right? Could you imagine like a little pebble that gets in there or something? And
oh,
then
he's distraught.
well, you killed somebody.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying he shouldn't be. I'm
That'd
just
be the
saying
freaking worst day ever.
absolutely.
I think his career's going to be tough to.
Yeah, dude. I don't think you can recover
He's
from
got
this.
enough money to last him for the rest of his life.
Well, I mean,
But, like,
that's
he's- Yeah, man, that's
not much
devastating.
solace.
It's
But
devastating. I mean, it's devastating. It's obviously a horrible accident, but like he'll never forget it. Obviously, he's the one that pulled the trigger and on a gun he thought was clean, you know, and obviously was not. But if anybody messed around at all, then they're gonna get charged with murder,
Yeah.
right? If
Oh,
anybody
yeah.
like let's say there was an actual bullet in there, and
Crazy.
somebody's like, ha, ha, ha.
or someone like replaced the prop gun with a real gun.
Right.
Nuts, right? We'll find out. It's going to be interesting to see that. That's why I can't wait to see the facts on this. It's
And
going to be very
big,
interesting.
Big, lots of news yesterday. They got the
Wow.
Brian Laundrie, right? His
Oh, yeah,
body,
his
the
remains.
remains.
That's the guy with Gabby Petito, the creep boyfriend that took his girlfriend across the country and
Got
killed
in a
her.
fight with her and then ended up killing her.
Strangled her.
Allegedly.
Right.
Yes.
Well,
At this point,
allegedly.
he's dead. So
Well,
we
yeah,
can't
I
even,
mean,
we don't have
I
to
think
I
worry
think if
about
I
dots
was
connect
innocent,
now.
if I was innocent, I wouldn't run away and kill myself.
Right.
There you go.
Right.
Or if you were that distraught, you'd probably kill yourself like where she was dead. if
So
she
we've been
fell off a
saying he's
mountain or
guilty for a
something.
long time. Let's just call him guilty. It's official now.
I'd say so. I mean, what's he going to do? Come after us? I don't think
But
so.
so someone in
well,
the chat,
his family
Joe
was
said in the
super
chat.
suspicious.
So while finding Brian's remains, they found 8 other remains. Is
What?
this true? Can anyone confirm
That's
this?
my worst freaking nightmare.
What is going on?
As mayor, like if you're looking
We're
for
gonna
somebody,
drain Wolf Lake.
Yeah, no, don't drain Wolf Lake. Do not drain Wolf
Oh,
Lake.
Mike.
Right? That's my worst fear. Don't do that.
That's funny.
There's no bodies
I mean,
in
it's
Wolf
not
Lake,
funny,
for the
but
record,
No.
or George Lake, or the Little Cow. Don't
No.
drain the little.
But
Don't
just
drain.
don't
the
drain 'em.
Don't drain the Grand Cow though, please.
I mean, that's something, right? 8. I don't know. I had not heard that, John. 8 other sets of remains.
I hadn't either, but
Wow.
wow.
That mayor is pissed.
Yeah. Well, I think
Hell yeah! You're like, what the hell?
Looked like it was in the middle of nowhere.
Suddenly, you have 9 murders
It's
instead
like
of
a
one.
state park or something. But the thing that's going to come out about that, there was all this talk about like his parents and were his parents hiding him and
Right.
all this other crazy stuff.
I have a
and
feeling.
internet sleuths were saying like he's in the backyard under the garden and crazy shit.
Kevin
like
and I
that.
were talking about this yesterday, though. As a parent now, if your kid comes home in a similar situation as Brian Laundrie did, and he's under suspicion for killing his girlfriend, and as parents, if you knew your kid was going to go off and kill himself, would you let him? Because even though he's probably going to go to jail for most of the rest of his life, I wouldn't want my kid to kill himself. I would be like, hey, listen, you got to face the music, Lindsay. It's very unfortunate what happened.
Wow.
Lindsay,
Love
what
you,
you did to
baby.
Brian.
I love you, baby.
Poor Brian.
I love you even in prison. I will still love you, right? And
Yep.
then I would be like, we'll get you the best public defender I could find,
Yikes.
right?
There's some good
Oh.
public
You wouldn't
defenders
call
out there,
Kevin?
by the way.
No. I mean,
Kevin's not a criminal defense lawyer.
Not anymore. I did.
Kevin did
I think
that.
probably 10 different criminal defense.
criminal trials.
Criminal
too,
trials.
man.
I think I had
I know all about
nine,
Kevin's
8 or 9 not guilties.
I'm allowed to diss on Kevin,
Yeah.
but he has a great career. But
Yeah,
if I
those
got in
days are
trouble like
behind
that,
me.
I'd call Kevin and say, Kevin, I need the best lawyer
Yeah,
you could
we
find.
find one.
And then you would call John Cantrell. So.
We
Kevin,
find-
get a hold of John Cantrell.
I don't know. I mean, John's good.
John
but
is
he the
damn
best?
good. John is damn good.
Yeah, John is good.
The thing, honestly, about Johnny Law, that is his nickname.
Yes.
He is fast on his feet, man. That's,
Yeah, he
I
is.
think that's
Do
his
you
best.
remember-
One of the quickest thinkers
And
I've
by
ever
the
met in my
way,
life.
he's been through 1,000 trials probably. So like, I mean, I'm saying he's been through hundreds and hundreds of trials.
I bet John's probably at 100, probably near 100 jury trials. I bet.
Okay, so what
Which
I'm
is
saying
crazy a lot, by the
so
way.
he's seen a lot of trial,
Absolutely.
right? He's been doing criminal law for 2 decades. He's fast on his feet.
Yep.
You
Right?
remember when he was
Like,
on
that's a
our
good lawyer.
podcast and we were talking about that teacher who was
Yeah.
dropping
And he came up with a defense like
Yeah.
that.
Dude, that was crazy, right?
But that's a great example
And
in
it
the
was
Johnny
a
Law's
great-
mind.
That's the
point.
day I was like, if I ever get in trouble, I'm calling this dude like right away.
John knows his stuff.
Not that I'm worried about that. I'm
No.
just saying, if you were ever in a situation facing criminal liability, I think Johnny Law is a good option. He's not even advertising on us.
You know what? You're
So-
He
right.
owes us a couple $100.
Now he
right
does.
If I
Johnny,
kill my husband, I'm calling him.
that's right, Lindsay.
He's my
Call Johnny Law.
one. He's my one phone call.
He's right. We even
You could call your dad. I mean, that's fine. I know people
Oh,
too.
Okay.
Good
Well,
guy.
you just said that I'll get you a good private or public defense lawyer, so I think I'll just call him and cut to the chase.
cut to the chase. Not worry about your dad.
Yeah,
Not
no.
worry.
That's
You know
right.
what? I
Leave
don't
me
know
out
if
of
we.
it.
This seems like an open and shut case, Lindsay. We're just going to go with the public defender.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what? In talking here, guys,
Yeah.
I find it hard to even look at Tom
Why
because
is
of
that?
something.
What,
Oh,
dude? What?
Is it?
Don't,
What
bring
were
your,
you- what-
don't bring your drama on
Where-
air,
no, no.
dude. We're sitting
where
there
did
doing
you
a
go
show.
this week?
No, where were you like 2 days ago in the morning, Tom?
Let me think. Let me check my calendar. Okay.
you look. Speaking of looking guilty,
What are you talking about, dude?
the cat that ate the
I don't know
canary.
where I was at all times.
Kevin,
you think
you
I've
have
memorized? It's hard enough knowing what I'm doing today, and I'm supposed to like keep in mind what I did last week.
For those of you that have listened to the pod for a long, long time,
Yeah.
name one media outlet that Tom McDermott loves to criticize.
I criticize them all.
Nice. And
Well,
then
you
he
have
goes
it.
on that
Then
same.
he goes on that
Twitter.
same
Twitter?
no,
No,
not the Times
Oh,
either.
Facebook. You're right.
No,
My bad.
WMCD. Tom
Oh.
McDermott, the featured interviewee.
What the hell happened here?
What are you talking about?
Like, you railed against this station
I'm a
Constantly.
ever.
I'm a candidate for statewide office, Vesmar. Like I got to get my goddamn word out.
By the way, you did do a good job on the Senate questions.
Thank you.
They were good.
Thank you. Like Vesmar's all freaking offended. What's up with that?
Yeah, I'm a man of principle. That's why.
I'm a man
Amen.
of principle
Amen,
too,
John.
dude. But
Thank you, Kevin.
I gotta put my message out.
I'm a man of principle, except
Come
when
on,
I need to get my message
Come
out.
on, campaign manager.
No, I thought you did a great job with the Senate questions.
So hold it. Am I
They were
supposed
great.
to like ignore people that are mean to me?
No, you don't. In
Like,
fact, you speak. You have
They're
to do
not
that all
mean.
the time.
They're mean to me, and they're mean to the city of Hammond.
I agree with that.
WJLB.
That's what the bullshit is.
It's like, no, they are like literally,
Yeah.
they take pleasure in slamming the city. of
Whenever
Hammond.
something negative
Because
about
of me.
Hammond's out there, they
It's
want to
because-
rip Hammond.
Because
Because it
of me.
undermines you.
Right.
Yeah.
So, like, that's the thing about WJOB that I do not support is they are constantly criticizing the city that I love and I live in and I think is doing well.
And you lead.
Right. And
Yeah.
so, like, I don't think it's wise for me to participate financially in WJOB, and I won't because I feel like I'm contributing to something that likes to criticize the city I'm in charge of.
And the trolls are the worst on that show. I mean, it's just terrible.
Were there trolls?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
It's just terrible.
It's all right.
I mean, you're going to have haters, right? I mean, you know that.
I have haters.
Yes, you do.
I'm become, you know, like if people are constantly banging on you, like I always say this. Okay, if I was a boxer, I'm not, and I went out there against a boxer, and I got slugged right in the freaking nose, I'd be like, son of a bitch, like what the hell? That's the worst thing ever, right? But you look at these other boxers, and they get hit in the face, and they don't even think about it, right?
Over time, I think that's what you become.
You become numb to it because it's like, oh, dude, that's just part of my job, right? I get hit in the face. That's what I do, right? Sometimes it really hurts, but most of the time, I don't feel it. Right?
Yeah, and I think, like, all kidding aside, right, it's important for you to get your narrative and your story out there when all that they're doing is ripping you and they have no facts. and
Hold
no
on. Why don't you direct your
perspective.
comments towards the guy that like is attacking you right now? You're looking at me saying this, and
I think we
did
were both
that.
kind of like, really? You're
Take
just gonna
those
go on
comments
there
and direct
without
them
telling
towards
us?
Mr. Vesmar, who's obviously offended that
It's like you just snuck on, though.
that I'm
Like,
campaigning.
You could have at least said, hey, guys.
What am I supposed to do? I knew you guys weren't going to take it well.
No, but so
I knew
this-
you guys would not take that well. So I'm like, I choose not to let you. I was hoping you guys would never even know. You guys,
yeah.
Obviously, you were listening to WJOB, a-hole.
Well, I get like 50 texts.
You know what else you probably didn't want us to know? Because this is why I'm sore about it. This
I'm
comes
gonna
on
leave.
No.
The locomotive is like checking out. I don't need this shit. I come on the air.
Coming
you
into
guys start
station.
I get attacked daily, and then I come in the freaking studio. You guys are attacking
We're not
me.
haters.
This
Yeah.
comes on the heels of receiving a picture of you, Tom, eating food from a restaurant you
this is
swear you'd never eat at again.
What are you talking about?
For those longtime LOCPOD listeners,
what are you talking about?
You may recall
Who's
Tom,
taking a picture of me eating?
someone that trusts LOCPOD, that trusts me and John, your wife.
We can't reveal our source.
Marissa-
That's right. Oh, John, I'm sorry. We cannot reveal
What are
our
you talking
sources.
about? Like, I don't even know what the
do
hell
you
you're
remember
talking about.
For those longtime LOCPOD listeners, you may recall Mayor Tom talking about how he got infuriated at a local Mexican restaurant when he found out they
Yeah,
put a tip-
jalapenos.
All right, and guess what the
By the
photo
way,
was? You
what was I
eating,
meant? Hold
You
on.
eating jalapenos was a photo we received recently.
I wasn't at jalapenos.
Well, it was takeout.
It was Mexican food in a styrofoam box.
You had no idea. It was
I had no idea.
Oh,
It didn't have like a logo on it. It was just, hey, honey, do you want tacos? I got this great Mexican food. I'm like, please, thank you, honey.
I don't think that's
I love
how
you,
it went down.
Marissa.
She
That's
didn't
not
say
how it
what
went
the
down.
restaurant
I love you,
was.
Marissa, for doing that. Thank you.
And she said, I'm going to
I ate.
jalapenos. You said, no way. I'm a man of principle.
Dude, I don't like go into details about where Marissa's going to eat every day. Like, what kind of
This
husband are
is so
you?
funny.
Jan, I want to know exactly where you're going to be today.
is so
That's just
funny.
not how I roll, Kevin.
All right.
So anyway,
So to recap,
To recap our day on
this day sucks already.
Tom's principled life.
that's the title.
So hold it. Tom's principled life. I like that. So, by the way, let's go back. Why am I mad at jalapenos?
Because of the fact that they
Forced gratuity.
forced gratuity
That's-
on you
they-
that they
They
did not
tricked
tell
me.
you about.
They tricked me.
Yes.
And I end
And
up
they
tipping.
wouldn't let
And then
him
another
sit
occasion, they
without-
wouldn't sit without the full party.
So, like, check it out. So last night I'm at another great Mexican restaurant, Casa del Mar.
Love that place.
Love it.
Great place.
Wonderful, right? And they gave me the check at the end. It says tip is included in this amount on the check.
Nice.
Bam.
That's smart.
Bam.
'Cause then you
it's not
can't be-
sneaky. It's not going to piss off a customer like me where I never go back to your place
It's not
again.
putting a sign at the door on the way
Right,
out.
and on the way out after you already do it, right? They put it on the bill. And then, like, I had a
Kudos, Casa del Mar.
and then I was with Lindsay a couple weeks ago. We were at a restaurant. I forgot the gentleman's name that helped us there. He comes up to us and he goes, I just wanted to let you know.
You told us that on the
that
air.
the tip is included in that amount. And I don't want you to
Yeah.
accidentally double tip. And I'm
Right.
like, thank you, young man.
And then you tipped him
I
because
gave him
of
like
that.
an extra freaking 10,
Yeah.
$15 on top of it. I'm like, this
He
guy's
hired
a
him
stud.
immediately.
It was
Right?
reverse
He's now the
psychology.
chief of staff.
It was reverse psychology. The guy's like, I listen to the podcast. I'm going to tell this guy
Exactly.
about
I
the
think he
tip,
did.
and he's going to tip
I think
me.
he was a listener. Lindsay and I were talking about that because he was like super attentive the whole time, and he like pointed out the double
world's largest margarita ever.
Lindsay got like a fishbowl margarita, and she just, and I don't think that was normal.
For sure,
protocol.
LOCPOD
No, that was
listener.
definitely not
Right?
normal.
It was embarrassing. It was so big. It was like my daughter's got an issue, right? Like big.
He is
Like
alive.
everybody's walking by, like, holy crap! That chick is she had a bachelorette party? That was that big. It was that big.
one of those.
It was that big.
With a 15-year-old kid, my parents, and my husband.
Bachelorette party.
What a bachelorette party you had.
That's how she rolls.
So fun.
So anyway, yeah, I apologize. I apologize about going on WJLB. I apologize about not telling you guys
Good,
about
you
it.
should be sorry.
No, you don't have to be apologize about going on. Just apologize about not telling us.
Okay.
All right,
So
fair
the
enough.
rule is like I can't.
Tom's apology segment to his
Two fellow lockpotters. I did not tell you on purpose because I knew you would give me.
the business.
Yes,
I'm not going to say
the
it's
business.
okay, but
you,
I'm
sweetie.
glad that you've owned up to it.
I have owned up to it. I went, and I may go again.
And you
one
did a
day.
good job.
Thank
I thought you did a
did.
good job.
Well, I do.
didn't
like
I didn't
honestly-
listen. I boycotted it.
It's like honestly,
Hell yeah, John.
It's like if I get invited on Fox News, am I going to be like, oh, I'm not going
No,
on Fox
you're
News?
going
like
on.
Buttigieg goes on Fox News. And
What if you get invited to go on something called the Truth Social?
Yeah, John's probably already a member.
I signed up for the beta.
I was
Did
going
you
to
really?
ask you if you signed
No,
up for the beta.
I haven't yet.
Oh,
What a
God.
joke!
I'm
This
on
thing
not.
is gonna.
Do
This thing
not.
is gonna fail.
Truth
miserably.
Net. What is it called? The
You know, honestly, I read it. It's the
Truth Social.
Donald Trump is starting a new platform, like a Twitter
Yeah, didn't
rival.
it already like tank?
No,
He tried
it's
it
in
once
beta.
and it tanked.
Yeah,
Well,
but this is
somebody like hacked his account and
that
put
was
some.
no, that was fake.
this is
Oh,
new. This is
okay.
Yeah.
this is launching as we speak. It's called the Truth Social
Appropriate word.
because you know Donald Trump was definitely a man of the truth. We all
Amen.
know that, right?
Amen.
Just preaching the truth all the time. So
Every
why
day.
not? You know.
Every day on Twitter. By the way, nice work by Donald Trump ripping Colin Powell and his
I know,
condolences.
dude.
I mean, John Wright.
What an asshole. Seriously,
John.
he did the same thing
Come
when
on.
John McCain
Yeah, he
died.
did. It's
When-
like, don't you have
War
at
heroes?
least just the
He doesn't.
like
He doesn't.
the ability.
He doesn't.
Yeah,
He's an asshole.
yeah.
He is.
My concern is that there's so many of these social networks launching, it's not going to make a splash. Like there's Getter.
Oh,
Did you guys
that's
hear
why
of
you're worried
Getter?
about it?
Gettr Getter. Isn't that a new one?
Better. There's Grinder. There's all kinds of stuff. out
Grinder.
there, John.
I'm on that one.
Oh, I mean, what? You're saying, John, you're already making an
Tom
excuse for
McD
him.
3469 at
You're-
grinder.com.
See, John's already like, John's making an excuse. He's saying like, there's so many
He
social
knows it's gonna
networks.
fail.
That's why it's going to fail.
Let me tell you why I think
No,
it's
I'm
gonna
not
fail.
saying it's going to fail. I'm glad he's doing it.
You
Great
know what?
for him.
Donald Trump is not going to love this. And you know why, John? Because he loves to piss off liberals. And no liberal, no Democrat in their right mind is ever going to go on the stupid Truth social media platform.
Right.
So he'll just be like, it's sort of like WJLB is. It's an echo chamber. You go on there with like-minded people that think exactly the same, and they all sit there and jack each
And
other
it's just
off.
gonna
Which is
get
the
Oh,
problem.
God, you're so
louder.
smart, Mr. President. You know, like it's
Right.
going to be just a big echo chamber.
Which is the big,
That's
which is
the
one of the
problem.
biggest. Which
Right.
I agree, John. Which is one of the biggest problems with social media. You can feed into what you want to hear, or you can find anything that you want to read about. Mm-hmm. That's your perspective, and
Right.
that's part of the problem. Is you don't go out and like look at the facts, see the other perspective. I think that's important if you're doing research.
I just want a social network that's not censoring people, but people are on there talking about what they talk about on Facebook.
Yeah, they
Everything.
have one. It's called Twitter.
I was going to say
Yeah.
that's why I like
Yeah,
Twitter.
It's
And
not
it's
true,
Facebook.
though. Twitter's
Cesspool.
a huge censorship.
Yeah, when you
Fucking Dorsey's
when
a
you
piece of
advocate
shit.
when you advocate to attack our capital and they kick you off, that's called censorship.
Free speech. That's all I want.
Yeah, it's, some would call it treasonous. You know, whatever.
Or just some people visiting a building.
It was just some people. This is
They
just
looked
a
like
nice
they were
day.
just there to take a
We were
look at
just
her.
there on January 6th, enjoying the scenery. I climbed up the wall. It was so nice. You know,
No, but serious question.
Statutory-
So if
we're
someone
Statuary Hall.
say serious question. So if someone posts that on Twitter, like January 6th was just a protest, should they be blocked, removed?
No.
Why can't they just say it?
They're
I don't
say
think
done.
it. John, why don't you try it out?
But the person
Seriously,
that John, but the
I
person
guarantee
that
you.
foments the
Right.
the insurrection,
Yes.
yes, I think maybe
Right.
they should be
If John,
be blocked.
I think we should test it. I think John should post January 6th was just a protest, and if they
There's
kick you
nothing
off,
be on
then
there
you-
forever.
All right, I'm doing it right now.
I guarantee you, John, you're not going to get censored. Okay, January 6th was just a protest.
I'd love it if
put
you did
and then
that
put at
flag.
LOCPOD at the bottom, so they
No, no.
they're not going to censor us.
Hashtag Jack Dorsey.
There you go.
What do you think?
He's going to get it, and he's going to be like, this
He's out.
smote him.
LOCPOD's banned.
LOCPOD
LOCPOD
smoted.
goes off the air. Like I didn't even know Twitter could do that. All right. By the way, we got a great guest today. Hammond's chief of police, Andy Short,
gonna
is
get
our
him
guest.
on.
He's going to be in here very soon. Actually,
Yeah.
So we're going to get some ads done, and then And then we're going to talk some Chicago.
By the way, what about this? Getting the guest. Good work, by the way, by our locomotive.
Oh yeah,
booking the
it
guest.
was all me.
Where was our business manager, Steve Kellogg?
Dude, he was probably in France or
with
our checkbook.
flying first class.
Let's review.
By the way, I haven't got a penny since we started this podcast.
No.
This is like forced labor.
You're not the only one.
Lindsay.
John's like,
Lindsay, have you got any money?
Like cash on me right now?
No, from LOCPOD.
Is Lindsay listening to the show?
She's not.
Lindsay's like, what's going on?
I got here like 5.
She's on the chat boards.
I pulled I was on the chat boards.
She's like, do I have money on me?
Whatever.
Like, what? Have you gotten paid a penny from this? Because you are a part owner.
No, definitely not.
I mean, we got the entire ownership in here right now, and the only one that's made any money off of LOCPOD is the employee.
The Steve Kellogg, our business
This is
manager.
100% of
not
the
an employee,
ownership.
just a independent contractor.
He's an independent contractor, and
Yes.
he's like taking our profits and
He has our
traveling the world.
checkbook.
And then, like, when we need a guest lined up, who does it? One of the owners.
And not
Our
only
locomotive.
is it a guest that you had to book, but it's a guest that literally Steve sees every day.
That's a good
Like he
point.
could just walk
This
into
is
his
true.
office and be like, "Hey, do you want to be on the pod?" He didn't.
But he's
Tom
in
had to
France
do
right
it.
now. He can't walk into the office. He's like,
Is he in France?
I'm just saying.
By the way,
Probably.
so John, let's think about this. The one thing that Steve has done since he got married and had control of the checkbook
Oh my
is he's
God.
booked Tom on another podcast.
Dude,
That was
That was his
when
booking.
Steve texted that the other day, I was like,
Thank you,
"You've
Steve.
got to be kidding me." We get this text on the LOCPOD thread chat. No joke. It's Steve. It says, "Hey Tom, this woman wants you to be on her pod."
He shouldn't have done that.
Where's the booking for us?
He
Steve?
shouldn't have done that on the LOCPOD thread. I agree. That should have been a private communication.
We're trying
right?
to get guests on the pod.
So I immediately responded, "Steve has booked more people for other pods than his own pods."
Great
But-
work by Steve Kellogg. But
I
if you
mean-
do want to, Lindsay, how about your spiel? Since we're talking about
Oh my
Steve,
gosh. Okay.
Yeah.
You guys are chaotic.
Spiel
today.
us,
You need
spiel
to,
us.
like,
Hey, there's that tip jar there still full, or the curse jar. Can we just split that? Can that be our payment?
There you go.
By the way, like when I go on these
that
other
income?
shows, when I get booked on these other shows, I always mention the podcast. I did like
You
4
did it? Yeah,
or
you
5
did.
mentions the other day for
Yeah, you did.
LOCPOD
Good
on,
work.
on Jed's show. And like I'm like the lead singer, and sometimes the lead singer gets interviewed and the whole band's not there.
and to
man,
Jed's
you know?
credit, he said, "Let's talk about the podcast."
You guys are the jamming band, man. I couldn't do it without you. But sometimes
get
they
the
don't want to
band
bring the
back
whole
together,
band.
man.
They have to bring the semi and everything.
Oh, I'm
like,
not in any
I think
way.
you're- I think there's
I am
some
not in
jealousy,
any
man.
way
I'm
jealous
not-
that you're on.
Really? I don't
Not
know.
at all.
Right.
Not at all. I'm
He's
just saying.
lying.
I'm not.
I love the pod. I love you guys.
I'm not go. What? No one's
Yeah,
going to listen
jealous
to me
isn't
if I
the
go
word.
on. They want to
It's
hear the
disappointing.
locomotive.
I think John disappointed.
we're not angry. We're just disappointed.
I agree. We're disappointed in you.
Oh, Steve's in the chat.
I'm
He's
just trying to
hearing
get
it.
elected. Damn it!
Yeah,
Did he
you
say-
guys
Leave me
need to
alone.
be nicer
Did
to
Steve say bonjour?
Yeah, dude, it's like 8 hours
Bon
ahead where he
matin.
is.
Yeah.
He's probably drunk at dinner right now.
You're right.
Yeah.
Bonsoir.
Lindsay, how come you haven't done your thing yet? What's up?
Because you guys are just all over the place today. I don't know what kind
Lindsay's
of
trying to wake
coffee
up.
you're drinking, and yeah, I pulled a Tom McDermott. I walked in 5 minutes before the show started.
That's how I
today.
roll.
No, that's you got to be 30 seconds before. To
I'm
pull a Tom
but I'm
McDermott.
I
constantly
can't.
working.
I have too much anxiety to do that. So
You know what time I woke up this morning so I could start studying for the show? 5:30 a.m.
Look at you.
Studying for the show.
Wow.
I do. I
You're
study
all-
for the show.
You're all
And
gussied up
Okay.
today. Like
I
when
study for the show, and Kevin and I
haven't
do a
even
pre-show
looked at
for
the
an hour,
notes,
hour and a half.
so-
Like each show that we do, each hour, I'm probably 2.5 hours of preparation for each show.
For those that
I mean,
are
honestly.
watching, it's very rare to have the mayor in tie, shirt and tie. But he's ready. He's today. He's all gussied up for
That's
his
right.
police chief.
It's a big
That's right.
conversation
Aw.
today.
Yeah,
it is. It is.
He's trying to impress Chief Short.
I am trying to impress Chief Short.
He's so
But
cute.
literally everyone watching's waiting for the chief, so let's
Yeah,
Lindsay,
Lindsay.
why don't you go ahead and start? John, could you grab the chief?
we're
and have
done
him
with
in?
you.
Do you mind?
Yep.
You're
Thanks.
listening to Left of Center, where we cover everything from politics to important events of the day in the Midwest and the nation, all while having way too much fun while doing it. If you can't, there's a bunch of stuff going on behind me. If you can't get enough of us, you can follow us on Facebook at Left of Center Podcast or on Twitter at LOCPOD, LOCPOD. And if you can't listen in live, you can always download our episodes from the Apple Podcast, Spotify, Stitcher, and iHeartRadio apps. Just search Left of Center Podcast and look for a red and blue logo. And don't forget to subscribe and rate on every single one of those applications. Also, if you would like to have an ad on our show, you can send an email to Steve, STEVE, at LOCPOD, LOCPOD.com, and we will take your money.
He probably won't respond to you, but email him.
Oh, Steve. Yeah. Keep in mind, is Steve in Paris right now, Chief?
Is
Yeah, I
he
know. He's
Parish?
suddenly become very wealthy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Scoot right up there,
Yeah.
Chief, if you can, right
Yeah.
up to the table.
Give us a little bit of time, Chief. We got to get through. We got
We're
to
gonna
pay
do
some
it.
bills.
We're gonna pay some bills, and then we'll
Get
be
comfortable.
We got Chief Andy Short in studio
There's a
right
man-
now.
Get that
so-
stomach
there's a
all the way
man-
on the edge of the table.
All right, so here we go.
There's a man with a
Welcome to
gun.
Season 4, Episode 16. That's what you've been listening to now. We have been sponsored in Season 4 by Powering America,
Whoa.
our premier sponsor. Season 4 is powered by our premier sponsor, Powering America. With the explosive growth of renewable energy in America today, call Powering America to meet your needs for renewable energy in your home or office, including electric vehicle chargers and solar power solutions. Trust the electrical professionals of Powering America. That's right. Visit poweringnorthwestindiana.org. That's poweringnorthwestindiana.org.
Tri Electronics wants to be your complete communications provider. Tri Electronics has been a leader in this industry for more than 55 years. They're dedicated to assisting their clients with their systems integration needs. They have the expertise and experience to provide superior results for a wide variety of projects. For more information, call Tri Electronics today at 800-722-6793. That's Tri Electronics.
I was talking to Tom and one of the owners of Tri the other day, and I told him our job is to get a jingle for him. So we got to get.
Is he up for it?
Oh no, they were very interested.
Eli,
this is not easy. We give Eli tough
assignments.
This is a tough assignment. Tri Electronics
needs a jingle.
We need a jingle, Eli.
Right.
And we'll buy it for $200 just in case it goes big. Grisolia's Concrete. Grisolia's Concrete was voted number 1 in the Times Best of the Region in 2020 and in 2021. Grisolia's Concrete specializes in all of your concrete projects, and they have been using the original cement finish in the California style since 1972, and also offers stamped and colored concrete. For more information or a project quote, call Grisolia's Concrete at 219-659-4127.
At Midwest Air Duct Cleaning, your health is our number 1 priority. They're dedicated to providing top-notch quality services at an affordable price. Their technicians have been trained to shelter the members of your household from potential airborne contaminants. If you'd like more information on how to protect the lungs of your home, call Marinko and his team at 219-671-8868 today.
All right, Calumet Brewery. Calumet Brewery wants to tell you about Michelob Ultra. Michelob Ultra is a superior light beer with only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories, all while being one of the fastest growing brands in the region. Or you can try Ultra Pure Gold, an organic light lager with only 2.5 carbs and 85 calories, brewed for your healthy lifestyle. Enter to win a Michelob Ultra golf bag through calbrew.com. That's CALBREW.com. Check out Calumet Brewery's Facebook page for details.
Tortillas Nuevo Leon is the gold standard of Mexican cuisine throughout the Midwest. Look for Tortilla Nuevo Leon's popular red and white label at your local grocery store and enjoy quality Mexican products made with local expertise.
Tortillas Nuevo León, hechas con amor, para ti y tu familia de todo corazón. Tortillas Nuevo León, hechas con amor, para ti y tu familia. ¡Yeah! De todo corazón.
The voice of Eli.
Challenger Learning Center. Celebrate Halloween this year at Challenger's Fright Night Laser Spectacular on Saturday, October 30th. Showtimes are 11 a.m. and 12:30 p.m. Tickets are $12 and must be purchased in advance. To learn more about Challenger Center and their upcoming events, visit clcnwi.com. That's clcnwi.com. Or connect on social media at Challenger NWI on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Chief. Sorry, Kevin.
Yes.
Go ahead. Finish up. This is the last one, right?
No, we had two more.
Oh, my.
Almost there.
We
We're
had a lot of
going through all of them at once.
Go,
we can
go,
get right
go.
to Chief Short. Thank you, John. Misprint specializes in delivering the highest quality signs and printing on time and within budget. Misprint's experience and technology allows them to offer custom, commercial, on-demand printing and sign solutions you can count on. Rick Balzenberger and his team have served Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana for over 30 years. They have 2 convenient locations in Munster and Hammond. Misprint Printing.
I mean, we're trying to pay bills, and Vesmer's like,
I know. Don't read those.
Chief, hold on. I'm like, hey, man, we're trying to pay some bills here, Vesmer.
There's something going on in the
Trying
chat.
to get you a paycheck, John,
Right, we're trying to pay your, high salary, Vesmer.
for all this high technology that you've ordered us.
Byway Brewery. Byway Brewing is a family-friendly. Byway Brewing is a family-friendly microbrewery with a spacious tap room and outside patio. Brewing equipment offers a unique backdrop for your private event like weddings, reunions, and corporate parties. We are conveniently located just off of 8094 at the Kennedy Avenue South exit. Come on by and enjoy Byway's award-winning beers and unbeatable menu.
All
Now
right.
you could go, Vesmar.
Yeah, what do you need?
Chief.
Yes.
There's something going. You got to get that. The mic's on an arm. You can put
you
it
pull it
in
right
your
up.
mouth.
Pull
Use
it right
us
up
as an
to-
example.
Like
See
this.
how?
See, I like.
And it goes up and down.
Move it all
too.
around.
Yeah,
Up
yeah.
and down.
Right,
Okay.
Right.
All right.
Here's
So
what's
people
going
can
on
hear
in
you.
the chat. Eva said she's patiently waiting for you to get right up into the mic and say good morning.
In that Barry White voice of yours.
Good morning, Eva.
Whoa.
God damn.
Well,
No wonder she likes it.
Something just happened in Robertsdale.
Wait.
Do that again.
One more time.
Whoa.
Like a personal good morning. Not
Come
even
on,
like.
get into it.
Good morning, Eva.
Oh.
That's a guy I want to pull me over.
I'm just. Can I just walk out of the studio?
Yeah, excuse me.
We're going to take a quick break.
Welcome to LOCPOD, Chief.
Thanks for having me.
Great to see you, man.
All right.
You know, we've had Jeff Long was in here and didn't even know. He goes, what did he do when he came in? He said,
LOCP.
he called us
LOCPOD.
and we're like, you obviously listen a lot, right? So we're glad you're here, Chief. We appreciate you.
Thanks.
How long you been Chief now?
I just finished up 33 in September 28th.
33 years, but what about how long as chief?
Chief since it's been 10 months now.
All right.
Wow.
Good.
Yeah. I mean, it's been, you took, so I was trying to remember. We had one thing about me as mayor. I've only had, Andy's only my third chief.
In 18
which is
years.
uncommon, right? I mean, you know your fellow chiefs in Indiana, right?
Right. But you also, your father was the one that hired me.
No way. Yeah, I knew
Yeah,
that actually.
yeah.
I'm glad you said that though. Yeah. So you came on in what year?
88.
88.
Yes.
Gotcha. Yeah. That was when my dad was mayor for
Look
sure.
at that.
He came on when I had just joined the Navy, when you joined. So we both joined something big, which means we're obviously pretty close in age. I never even really.
No, I think I got you by several years.
Really?
He just
So what
looks
did you
like
do?
he's
So
like
Andy-
he's younger than you.
So Andy, what did you do? So you worked for a while after high school then?
Mm-hmm.
Did you work in a park department or something
After
like
high
that?
school, I went to a junior college, and then I went to a school down in Mississippi, and then from there, I worked for the parks.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
So you
so
were-
and then what made you decide to be a police officer?
There was a lot of guys that used to come in our neighborhood who was just some awesome guys, and they would
Like who? Are they still around?
Paul Walker.
Paul Walker. See, I love Paul Walker. Still
Ronnie
to the-
Rowe.
Oh, Ronnie Rowe.
Bruce Parisho. All those guys just come in, and they was pretty good with us.
So did they like recruit you? Like a guy like Paul Walker and all these other like mentors you're talking about, did they like recruit you as a young man to be a
Paul
police?
Walker was always on us.
Really?
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
you should be a cop. You should be a
Right.
police
He
officer.
said, you ought to think about it. You know, if you're not going to finish college, at least try to become on the Hammond Police Department where you can further your career and make something of yourself.
And I mean, look at you now. Hammond's first African American police chief, so you made history in Hammond, and you're making a damn good living. I mean, I know how much you get paid. It's a really good job.
It's good to be chief.
It is. No, it is. But it's bad to be chief too. It's bad to be chief too, though, right? Because
yes,
you
it
get
is.
the phone calls. Like we had a rough week last week.
Yes,
and
we did.
I know it's not your fault. It's not my fault. But like people don't understand that, right?
Right, that is correct. But you know, I signed up for this, and I love doing it. I mean, I hate that we had the homicides, but I do love the fact that
God, that's the worst, isn't it?
yes, but I do love the fact that I'm still out there trying to make some type of change for everybody. By just being out there, I think it helps the young guys to see me out there.
So, you know, you mentioned Chief Paul Walker and other African-American police officers back in the day kind of recruited you. Do you kind of continue that tradition on and try to get into the African-American community or the minority communities in Hammond and elsewhere to get young men of color to come onto the police department?
Men and women.
Yeah, absolutely, men and women.
And it's,
Sorry,
it's funny
man.
that you asked that because I have asked several pastors to assist me in regards to looking for different minorities to come on our department because I think that in the churches there's a great recruiting class.
I agree with you. But what is the hesitation? Because I mean, being a police officer, our junior officers with overtime are making 60.
Oh yeah,
Yes, right?
A little bit more.
I agree.
Yeah.
One of the problems we have in the city is sometimes the junior officers definitely pass up the chief, but sometimes they pass up the mayor because they have high salaries and they're making a lot of overtime, and then they end up making more than the
And they
mayor.
got second
which-
jobs and yeah.
well, I'm talking even just what we pay them in the city,
Yes,
and then we're like,
yes.
"What the hell?" Officer so and so made 140 grand last year, and the mayor doesn't even make that himself, right? So
Right.
like, which I'm not very cool with usually. like
Well,
being honest.
we have so many different grants that's out there for them to make the money. I mean, you
No,
got-
I agree.
traffic grants.
So if I'm a brand new officer and I want to I take everything that comes at me, how much can I make?
You probably can make about 75 easily.
That's
great.
great. And
Mayor,
brand new. And then obviously, if I'm an officer with like 20 years and I'm taking everything that's coming at me, I'm making six figures easy, right?
Easy, yeah. Oh, yeah.
You
So,
know,
like,
Mayor, one
I
of
was,
the
I was
things-
one of those guys.
I know.
There you
man.
go.
I know, Andy. That's how.
One of the things
And
you've
now he's chief.
preached a lot lately, Mayor, is making sure that your police force looks like your community.
I always talk about it, and we've done a better job in police department than we have in fire. And I'm not trying to diss on fire. I love the fire department. I know the chief's working hard at it, but we've been way more successful in the police department diversifying. Because when I took over, in 2004, Andy, the Hammond Police Department looked a lot different than it does right now, right?
I believe we had, I want to say probably about 8, and I think we have about, 14 now?
And you're just talking with African Americans.
Yes.
But like now, not only that, we have a lot more women working for us now. We have a lot more Hispanics working for us now.
Yes,
we have a lot more LGBT working for us now.
Yes, we do.
And in that regard, I think
We have an Asian, a great guy.
yeah, of course, yeah.
Awesome guy.
So
like you said, Mayor, being reflective of the community, I think it not only is it good for just the administration, it's also good for the city.
It is.
and the members of and just
Especially-
residents to see their police department look like the community.
Especially in police.
Yeah.
Because if we're going to be making tough arrests, which every arrest nowadays is tough because everybody's got a cell phone and it's controversial no matter what we do, even if we're 100% right. You want to have a department that looks like the community, right?
Yes, this is true. And I also like the fact that we have a lot of guys that's got their schooling from the Hammond school system. That's on our department also.
Yeah.
I think it makes a great difference to
Yeah,
them.
man. I mean, you don't have to train them about the streets and neighborhoods, stuff like that. We know
this is
it,
true.
right?
This is true.
You know, guys, one of the big issues as I look back on Chief Short and the mayor, and I think you guys in a certain situation, the one thing that comes to my mind is what happened after George Floyd and how we had a Black Lives Matter protest that came into Hammond. And
4 days before my election.
if I remember, it was like May
election.
1st, 2020.
And it was hot, right? It started up, Andy and I, we were both at the police department when it was a protest in front of the police department.
When it was a protest, yes, we were.
And it was totally peaceful, right?
Yes, it was.
There was no sign that it was going to turn potentially destructive.
It was very peaceful. Very
Right.
peaceful.
We were watching it the whole time.
Yes, we
and
were.
We weren't, and we made a conscious decision that the officers were not going to engage the protesters at all. They had free reign. They were on Russell Street, which is right in front of the police department. We just shut it down. Like, go ahead. And there was a few hundred.
Oh, a little bit more.
Yeah.
And they wanted to be heard, and we let them, and we heard them.
There were
We listened.
so they're in front of the police department for 2 hours, probably, right?
Easily, yes.
So after, and it was apparently peaceful. So Kevin and I had other hits to make that
Campaign
day.
stops.
I was literally 4 days before my primary election running for Congress.
And the polls were open for early voting.
So we bounce, Kevin and I bounce, and we start heading around, and I'm getting updates from Andy the whole time. Andy's not chief yet, but Andy's giving me updates. The chief at the time, John Doty, was giving me updates.
Yes.
So then the crowd starts marching, right?
Started marching.
And that wasn't planned.
No, it wasn't. But it was still a peaceful march.
Agree, but they didn't have permits. So
No.
we have our decision is try to stop them. Of course not, because we're not going to provoke anything, right?
That's true.
So we let them march and shut down streets, basically a roving
Roving
protest.
roadblock.
Right, a roving roadblock. And they're going down streets that are busy, and they're going, like Calumet is that a state highway.
This is true.
And we're literally letting them go. They go in front of City Hall, and I'm getting updated. And then, when they're in front of City Hall, then I start getting a lot more panicky phone calls from the officers at the scene
This is true.
because they start hearing that the crowd is not satisfied with just staying at City Hall, right, Chief?
This is true. We started getting intelligence that they was planning on, they wanted to stop the traffic on 8094.
Now think about that. For those that aren't familiar with our area, I-8094 is probably one of the busiest highways in the country. It's the
Busiest stretch, I believe.
Yeah, it's where I-80 and I-94 are both the same road. It's
Just below Lake Michigan, so any east-west that was blocked by the Great Lakes comes to the closest point, which is Hammond. And it literally, shutting down 8094 is dangerous.
tens of thousands of cars a day.
Yeah, tens of thousands.
And
Probably
you-
hundreds of thousands.
And if you
let's be
recall,
honest.
in Oklahoma, then somebody there was a peaceful march out in the middle of the street, and some semi truck ran through
Yeah.
the crowd.
Right.
We couldn't let that happen.
So, the crowd starts marching south of City Hall, and they have probably 2 miles, a mile and a half to 8094.
About a mile and a half. Yeah.
Mile and a half. And
we were in Hobart.
So Kevin and I are like, you guys got to come back. Like, this is getting ugly because the state police, there's no way the state police is letting this group onto 8094. And we have a standoff, basically, where the state police and Lake County Sheriff and the Hammond Police and a lot of agencies.
71st and Calumet.
Right, Derryville.
And the
right.
state police had the exits blocked. In fact, we had to
Dude,
get around
the crowd, there was
state
no
police
way
to get in.
There's no
Yes.
way the state police let us in because
You were the mayor, right.
So there's no way the crowd is going to get to 8094. It was going to be a fight before that happened. And I think the protesters were ready to fight, and the cops were dug in their gear.
Yes.
And that's when Kevin and I got there.
Yes.
And it was
was
tense as anything I've ever seen, Chief. Have you seen anything like that in Hammond since you've been a police
No,
officer?
not in Hammond. No.
As a police officer.
No.
It was literally like, I thought there was going to be a huge
There
fight.
was like a standoff.
It was. It was. And, oh, man, they were saying some things out there that was, it was ugly.
Well, you know,
Dude,
Chief,
I mean, are you getting special attention being African American police officer? Are they people because the protesters were? It was a very diverse group. It wasn't all African American, but I know that some of our African American officers and Hispanic officers were getting special attention from the protesters, like, "Hey, you're on the wrong team," kind of stuff.
That was me. He was right behind me. Remember?
Yeah, I was right behind you. It was a rough day for you, Chief.
Really?
Yes.
Well, I mean, so they're being mean to you, obviously. Same
Yeah,
things.
yeah. But I understood. I understood what they was asking for, and they wanted to be heard. And so my take on it was just, hey, listen to it. I took all of it.
You did.
I took all of it.
But by the way, Chief.
And then once they got done talking, they didn't have nothing else to say.
But by the way, Chief, George Floyd got murdered. I mean, I
Yes.
believe that.
Yes.
So right. So like, I mean, we're on the same team as far as what the protests were about. And in Hammond, I think we've done a good job as police officers trying to work, and we've made mistakes.
Yes.
Well, I've been mayor, we've made mistakes, and we've learned from them, right?
That's
and
true.
we're trying to work better, and we're trying to diversify our force, and we're trying to do the things that the neighborhood is asking us to do, right?
That's true.
So like, I felt like we were being picked on during that George Floyd protest for political reasons. I always felt.
Well, and by the way, I thought, and I felt this because I was out, I wandered out in the crowd a little bit as well, and the Hammond residents that were there were very supportive of the police. I thought, you know, there was a lot of Hammond people that were on the sidewalk
Right.
saying like, "Hey, you know, we're
it was,
here."
It was a shit show.
Yep,
man.
it was rough. And you know, and I remember you were assigned to watching the mayor, and the mayor's out in the crowd trying to calm the crowd. Which, by the way, Mayor, congratulations again. I mean, you did an unbelievable job out there that day
I thought
because
it
you
was very-
dispersed the crowd eventually.
I think they
He
tried-
listened to the crowd.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was something different that I thought that both sides wasn't doing. He allowed the protesters to talk, and he listened to the crowd, and I think that helped us out probably 100%.
Chief, they weren't being nice to me.
Oh, I know.
They were
I was,
telling me-
I was behind
But you were taking it, Mayor.
Yeah.
Dude, what am I going to do?
I agree.
I was like, literally, if I would have taken a different tact, I would have been beaten down. There's no doubt in my mind. There was a couple people I thought, literally, here it comes. I'm going to get punched right in the face. I swear. I was thinking that the whole time. I was like stealing myself, ready to get hit. And then nothing happened. And I was talking to a guy that would have ripped me apart.
Yes, this
He
true.
was a mean looking dude. He was pissed off. He was frustrated. And this guy helped me so much. Because I was like, he's like, what do you
Was he
want
a
us to
pastor?
do? No, there was a pastor I was working with also. Did you?
Pastor was a little thinner guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but this guy was,
Yeah, he was beast.
yeah, and he was like a natural leader though. Like people were listening to him, and he's like, "What are we supposed to do?" And because he didn't want to walk backwards,
Right.
that was a big point for him. It looks like they had to retreat, right? And I'm like, if you go here and you go there, you can get out of here. And I swear, when he took the group with him, I was like, like I'll never forget it as long as I live, Chief. I was like, I cannot believe they were listening. I can't believe they actually did this because I thought for sure we're gonna have just a huge fight, you know?
It was something that day. And I mean, Chief, so you have an interesting perspective, right? You're an African American police officer, and the protesters are basically protesting police shootings and killings of African American men. I mean, how do you kind of feel that you still are a member of the community, right? But you're also a sworn officer. How do you deal with that kind of dichotomy?
As a Hammond policeman, I see some of the things that I hear some of the things that the protesters are speaking of. But when you're talking about the community, this is my community. This whole city of Hammond is my community, and I feel that they're going to back us. They're going to back me. They're going to back you. And I feel that, hey, by seeing a lot of us up there trying to do the right thing, I think the citizens of Hammond is going to always stand behind us. I truly
I agree with
believe
you,
that.
Chief. I think
that.
in that day, I don't think there was a lot of Hammond citizens that were leading that group to 1894.
I agree with you.
Okay, it was a lot of outside influence.
I've seen a lot. There are some people that said some things to me that I knew who
That
they
you
were.
knew they were? Really?
Yeah, yeah. But I understood because those are the ones that's just followed the group.
That sucks, man.
But it was okay because I understood it.
But you know what, Chief? That sounds like politics to me. It's like sometimes I see people that I've been good to that are not nice in return, and when I really need their help, they totally screw me. And it's like it takes a while to like get used to that. And I mean, I'm sure you see it all the time as a police officer. People you think that, you know, hey man, we've known each other for 30, 40 years, and now you're acting like this toward me, right?
Right. But it's also funny though. Those are the same ones that want to give me water on a hot day.
Yeah.
Which I just try to be neutral and try to do the right thing.
Well, I tell you, you're one of the most solid guys I know, Chief. That's why you're the chief. I mean, you're like steady, you know, even under pressure, you're steady. You're the same guy, like even when the shit's on the line.
What you
know?
said, you told me one time. It's not a handout. It's all about equality. And
Oh,
I
yeah.
Thank you for that.
Oh no, dude! You're not a police chief because you're African American, Andy. You're a police chief because you're excellent. Okay, and you're also African American, you know,
Thank
but
you.
you're excellent. That's why you're there. You know, it's wonderful for Hammond, and I know you're inspirational for a lot of our residents, and me included, by the way. But like, there's a lot of young men and women out there that look at you and say, "Man, that's freaking awesome. I could be a police chief." And maybe they wouldn't have thought that 2 years ago. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
That's what it's
why.
all about.
That's why I'm so proud of you, and I'm so lucky to have you working with me. It's awesome.
Guys, if you don't mind, let's like fast forward from 2020 to like 2021, and we've got this crazy issue going on right now
in Chicago with Mayor Lightfoot and the Chicago FOP. Do you mind talking about this, Chief?
Let's go ahead.
You want to set the stage a little bit,
Sure.
Kevin?
So back in August, Mayor Lightfoot in Chicago said to her employees, 30,000 of them in Chicago, that she was going to require a vaccine for them by October 15th.
That's aggressive, right? I mean,
Yeah, it's aggressive.
Vaccine
right?
mandate.
Vaccine mandate
all
for
employees.
Now, private industry has done that. Some governments have done that, and she said this is the date. She got some pushback, especially from certain departments, mostly the police and fire department.
Didn't they say that most of the employees fell in line? Regular employees.
Yeah, I mean, they had many departments that
the
were 100%,
parks,
90%,
right.
98%,
Right.
you know, here and there. And so
the pushback comes from, and this is no surprise to me as mayor, a lot of the pushback we get is from police officers and firefighters. And I'm not trying to talk negatively. It's just a fact.
And
It's,
so an important-
you run into stronger-willed people in those departments. Is that safe?
This is true.
And so an important fact that happened then, when there was pushback, they started some negotiations. And the mayor then said, okay, listen, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open a portal up. All you have to do is report your vaccine status.
Right.
So you don't have to be vaccinated. If you're not vaccinated, you have to do testing twice a week.
Right.
And then
Which is consistent
everybody,
with, that's consistent with how companies across
without a
America
doubt,
are doing it, right?
without a doubt.
It's like, if you don't want to get the shot, we're not going to tell you.
And these are folks that have a lot of
interaction
with the public.
Right.
Isn't that the law of the land right now? I think it was in 1905. I think it was Jacobson versus Massachusetts.
Wow, look at you. You're being a lawyer today.
No.
I'm going to give you my bar card. So are
But
you talking about just the immunizations in themselves?
Yeah, and I think it was the what the law of the land has pretty much stated that they could it can be mandated
For public health.
Right.
because of smallpox, right?
Right.
Okay,
Exactly.
I thought so. So
It's not- I don't
it
think-
is a right.
Yes. No, I don't think it's a question whether or not it's legal. In fact, that's why Mayor Lightfoot's being so cocky on this issue.
I
She's
think
like,
so.
You want to go to court? Let's go to court.
And they dug
She
in.
knows. Like, honestly, like if government can't force a COVID shot, then government can't force a smallpox or a measles or a mumps or rubella. Like, then basically all of us could start carrying disease again.
Right.
You know? So, like, legally, I don't think they have a leg to stand
Where do
on.
you see it, though, kind of from a administration standpoint,
Listen,
Mayor?
I'm not a humongous fan of Mayor Lightfoot. Her and I have had run-ins, okay?
Yeah.
And in fact, she hasn't really cooperated with us PD-wise, right, Chief?
Yeah.
We're neighbors, and we really don't act very neighborly with each other, okay? So you're not talking to a huge Mayor Lightfoot fan.
Cameras.
Yeah, right.
With the cameras, right.
Yeah.
So I'm not a huge fan, but she's dead right on this issue. She's 100% right on the FOP issue and the vaccination issue because of this. The Chicago residents voted her mayor. And as voting her mayor, you placed her in charge of the police department, her and the police chief and the police commission in Chicago. And if we don't have the chain of command working, like we're like, no, mayor, I'm not going to listen to you anymore. It's like anarchy.
Well,
like,
I mean,
can you imagine that, Chief? Like, I don't get that.
Actually, I can't because of the fact that we have a good working relationship with Lightfoot.
That's another thing. Is our relationship, chief and mayor, of
No,
course,
they don't
but
have a
like
good one.
police
Right.
and mayor's office is a good relationship.
Right, and we don't settle our stuff in on the streets. We settle it in your office at the big long.
very true.
Well, the other thing
Very
I
true.
think that's a dangerous precedent. A dangerous precedent is, we at least I think of police officers as they follow the rules, right? They enforce the rules, and all of a sudden, like, I'm going to get pulled. I get pulled over. They say, "Put your hands behind your back." Why do I got to listen to you? You won't even listen to an order from
The mayor. And
You're not following the rules. Why do I got to follow your rules?
So you're gonna steal my thunder, huh?
No, man. No, I don't. I never want to steal Andy's thunder.
Because I thought that's what when I talked
All
to you, I was telling you about my son, because that's how he feels.
Go ahead.
My 22-year-old, he feels that, hey, if you can't follow the law, how do you expect me to follow it?
That's right.
Interesting. No, I didn't know he said that.
Right, and that's how he feels. And
Okay.
and he also feels that, hey, on the streets, we cannot be, we can't let the street be unsafe.
right.
We cannot ask our guys to come off the street. If I was to ask the men and women of the Hammond Police Department to to take a whole day off, it's going to hurt our city.
Couldn't do it. I mean, you can't do it.
I can't do it.
And that's what's crazy.
But if you hold in court on this, it's not right to hold court on the street. It should be at the in courts.
And then you've got the head of the Chicago FOP,
Yeah.
right, John Catanzara,
The head of the Chicago Police Union.
yeah,
For those of you that
and
aren't
who
aware.
thinks
Right.
he's in charge of the police department.
It sounds like it. He's basically encouraging them to ignore a mayor's order.
Yep, and
Which
this
means,
is
that's a, the FOP in the city of Hammond, we have a good relationship.
Great relationship.
I mean, it's not perfect. Sometimes we argue, sometimes we fight, but for the most part, I think the leadership of the FOP is very looking for the same exact things we are.
Yes, they
right?
are.
I can't imagine how dysfunctional this relationship is. I can't imagine Mike Elkman, the president of the Hammond FOP, out there just constantly banging on me personally, how I run the city. That is incredibly dysfunctional.
the one thing about this guy Catanzara that I found out is that number one, he was okay with having federal troops come in at the invitation of Donald Trump to Chicago.
Right.
Two, he made some really strange comments about January 6th. He said, I didn't see any fireworks. I didn't see any guns. I just saw people trying to push past the police to get into a building. That
Right,
was crazy.
right.
So, that's kind of the perspective this guy's coming from. And I think that's maybe part of the backstory is that he and Mayor Lightfoot have something going on.
See, so Mr. Catanzara predicted that the Chicago police officers wouldn't report to work because of the policy. He said that if a large number of police officers refuse to submit to testing or reporting their vaccination status to the city, it's safe to say the city of Chicago will have a police force at 50% or less for this weekend coming up.
He said, hold the line.
That's-
hold the line.
Whatever happens because of manpower issues, that falls at the mayor's doorstep, he added. That's a threat.
John, you got a clip of
That's
him?
a threat.
Let me play the short audio clip here.
John Catanzara begins to release videos on YouTube.
I am telling every member, do not fill out the portal information on your vaccine right now. You still
Instructing.
That's not like gray. That's black and white.
So let's say this happens to us, Chief. I was talking to Kevin yesterday about how I would approach an issue like this. So I would assume that the chief and the assistant chief and the captains, that's administration, I would assume they would all get their vaccination status if this were a similar situation. I would start as mayor. It's like, okay, we got a problem. They said it was 35% of the police force is blowing off the mayor's order and they're not complying. I would start with the highest paid, the highest rank. Let's say it's Captain So-and-so. I'd say, I want Captain So-and-so in my office. And they come in, I say, Captain So-and-so, I see you didn't download your stuff to the portal. And they say, that's right, Mayor. I believe it's my right not to get this shot. And I'm like, I respect your rights. You're fired. You have a Board of Public Works hearing on Thursday. Leave your shit here and get the fuck out of my office. Seriously. I'd be like, you got to go. You're out. And then I would probably meet with a couple lieutenants that first day. And then I would let it wait for a couple days. And then I would say, let's see what happens now, right? And then I imagine more people would start getting their shot. And if they didn't, I'd say, okay, I want to talk to Lieutenant So-and-so. Lieutenant So-and-so, I see you haven't followed our orders. I want you to leave your shit in here and get the hell out of the office. You're fired. I'll see you on Thursday. And I think eventually you're either going to filter out the head cases or eventually everybody's going to comply with the mayor's order. And by the way, I think the mayor's toast. She's not going to get reelected.
No.
She's hated in Chicago. But the fact is, you cannot have the third largest city in America, the police department of that city at war with the mayor. It's just completely dysfunctional. You got to give her the keys because the residents of Chicago voted for her and then vote her out in a year and a half.
And so, Mayor, for me, what you're saying
And I'm
is
sorry
it's a
if
chain
that
of
seems
command.
rough.
It's a chain of command
Dude,
issue.
you cannot have total dysfunctionality. It's not good for anybody that lives anywhere near Chicago, right? So now they're talking about huge gaps in the covering. So Mayor of Chicago is like, hey, I got an idea. Let's go to the Illinois State Police. Well, the Illinois State Police just came back and said, nope, we are not. Oh, excuse me. The Illinois sheriffs won't fill police gaps stemming from Chicago's vaccine mandate.
Wow.
So they're going to have like 35% fewer officers on the streets of Chicago,
Sounds like some overtime opportunities.
Well, I think we can make it work. But is that brutal? I'm sorry if it's brutal, but I just never could imagine a situation like this where the police are openly revolting against the mayor. That would just be totally dysfunctional.
I'm vaccinated, and I hope each and every one of our officers get vaccinated. It's their right. They should want it for all the right reasons. Those that haven't gotten vaccinated yet, my question is, what are you waiting for, guys? Please get vaccinated.
What's the number? Right? We heard this.
I don't know what.
John, you got that clip from Mayor Lightfoot? This is an interesting fact that she brings up.
This out. By the way, this is one of her responses to.
She's not backing down. Catanzara.
Yep.
Here we go.
Number one cause of death in 2020 of law enforcement was COVID-19, nothing else. It's foolish, but unfortunately that's in keeping with the leadership of this fraternal order of police. Wow. They will be vaccinated.
So normally before 2020, the leading cause of death for police officers would probably be car crashes, if I had to guess.
Yes.
And then I imagine death by gun, either suicide.
Mm-hmm.
And then I imagine police shootings probably third at that point, right?
It's up there.
Okay. So now, because of COVID, it's taken the top spot. And the number one killer of police officers across the country right now is COVID-19. And we have, I don't know, let's say 50% of our officers haven't been, received the vaccine. Is that
hopefully
fair?
Less.
I think it's probably in that area. I don't know.
I think it's close to that area.
Right.
Don't forget, we lost a great officer.
Officer Tom Sawyer.
Yeah. Tom Sawyer, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
He was
COVID.
Sergeant?
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
Good guy.
Yeah, he was like my age.
Yeah, a good God-fearing man.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he died from COVID.
Yes.
And he died in the line of duty,
yes.
which is the only officer since I've been mayor that's died in the line of duty.
Knock on wood. We don't want any more of those.
By the way, I am the worst jinx ever.
So don't say that, Mayor.
I was with Andy in French Lick.
There you go.
I was with Andy in French Lick about...
Stay safe. Stay safe out there.
About what, 2-3 weeks ago, Andy?
Yes.
And I'm like, Chief, we're having the best year. And he's like, shut up. Don't say that. And I'm like, no, I mean, seriously, we were having the best year. There's very low violent crime. Well, there you go. I jinxed us. Because we've had a horrible couple weeks in the city of Hammond.
Yes.
And it was my fault. But it's just very sad what's going on in Chicago. It scares me because we're so dysfunctional. And then to add insult to injury.
What about Senator Braun?
Right. To add insult to injury, yesterday, Indiana's other U.S. senator, besides the one I'm normally banging on, Mike Braun, is out there saying, this is what he said. Indiana's police departments are hiring now and will welcome you with the respect you deserve, Braun said. Our police...
what a jackass.
Yeah. Our police do the hardest job in the world, and they deserve respect, not losing their pay or being fired for refusing to comply with the ridiculous vaccine mandate, he said. Now, listen, I understand there's some people out there that feel that the vaccine mandate is ridiculous, okay? I hope we don't get to that point personally. I wouldn't want to see that. In Hammond, I wouldn't want to see that in Indiana, okay? But in Illinois, this is what they have, and this is what they did. And I just think the job of a U.S. senator... We're in a pandemic. I think most people could agree to that. Mm-hmm. And to have a U.S. senator like criticizing, vaccine mandates and encouraging people not to get the shot. And
encouraging
then
police to leave.
Encouraging unvaccinated people to move to Munster. Like the Munster police chief is out there, and I looked at the stats. Munster's got like above 75% vaccination.
It's one of the highest vaccinated towns in
Can you believe that? The whole city.
State.
Munster has like 75% or above vaccinated people, which is incredible.
Wow. Awesome.
Wow. And then you have your police chief out there saying, unvaccinated people move to Munster. Yep. Come and cough on us, please.
Come to our schools.
Right? Come and cough on us and have your kids cough. And like, why don't we encourage vaccinated people to move to the region, sure. Right? Like, I don't get that. Like, yeah, you're unvaccinated. Come on in.
And you're also encouraging people that don't want to follow orders.
Yeah, by the way.
I mean, hey, come on over. You want to be a troublemaker? We'll take you.
I agree, though, Chief.
Wow, that's a good one. Yeah.
If you're like, being a police officer is a great job. You're making good money. You got a great pension. You retire after 20 years. You could retire after 20 years. Mm-hmm. If you're willing to throw all that away over a shot during a pandemic, if you're that rigid, I don't really want you in the Hammond Police Department. I'll be honest with you. Because I imagine you're going to be a pain in my ass a couple years down the road also, and you're going to be a pain in the chief's ass a couple years down the road also. So I don't know who Senator Braun's hiring. I didn't realize Senator Braun had a police force. But I tell you what, this mayor is not interested in the head cases from Chicago coming to the Hammond Police Department.
Sure as hell not interested in having Senator Braun tell you what to do.
And I know we're hiring a couple of Chicago police officers right now also. This was way before all this.
They're the vaccinated ones.
So to our new Chicago police officers, welcome to the Hammond Police Department. but I don't want the head cases from Chicago that are willing to throw their career away over a political issue. I just don't want that.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that like it was about 35%, which is the number you usually hear about the always Trump folks, and 35%. I'm just curious about the demographics of those 35%. I could take a guess there. A bunch of white guys.
Yeah.
My guess.
White male.
Yep.
Trump.
My guess.
If you did political support, 90% plus would be Trump voters.
I think so.
Did John go to sleep over there?
Maybe they're just concerned about the vaccine, man.
They could be. That's what I'm saying. I don't think it's all white guys.
You're leaning in awfully hard the last 1 minute here on these.
Dude,
I don't know.
Man.
All right, let's go to chat.
I bet you some of the people that are refusing to get the shot have like full sleeve tattoos, stuff like that.
Well,
and they don't care about the stuff that's
discriminate
inside.
against full sleeve tattoos.
What I'm saying is,
I might have one.
What you're saying is, Kevin, if I have a full sleeve tattoo, I'm not saying it because of that. I'm saying if you have a full sleeve tattoo, you don't think about what's in the ink that they put on your skin.
You know what? I didn't know where that's where you're going.
I'm not saying because of that. I know a lot of people with tattoos.
Yeah.
Okay. But you don't talk about the ink that's going to go on your arm and be there for the rest of your life. Just be consistent.
There you go.
If you're going to be like
that, that's a real good point.
That's what I'm saying. I believe me. My daughter has tattoos. I know plenty of friends of mine that has tattoos. It's not about that.
I have 0 tattoos.
I have 0 tattoos myself.
0.
Okay? But what I'm saying is, you see somebody with a full sleeve tattoo, they're like, I don't know what's in that shot. It's like, get the hell out of here.
That's a hell of a good point.
Right? You got a freaking ink on your arm permanently. And did you analyze the ink that they put into your arm? No, you didn't. Right?
It's organic.
Right? It's all organic.
Sure
it's
it is.
organic.
Those are clean needles.
Just be consistent. That's all I'm saying. Okay? Like,
that's great, Mayor. I like it.
Well, I love my guys and girls in the Hammond Police Department. I think they're doing a great job, and I also feel that they're there for us, and they love the city.
Yeah,
they're working hard for the city.
They do.
Chief, there's a great thing on the chat said, do you karaoke? Because they want you to do a Barry White song.
Whoa.
Is that Steve Kellogg?
No, he's in France.
I'm spending our money. Spending our money.
Well, Chief, it was awesome having you on, man.
Hey, man, we got to do this again.
Thanks,
I appreciate it. You'll
Thanks
be our expert on police matters. LOCPOD
right.
police expert.
All right.
Andy Short.
Thanks,
Appreciate
buddy.
you guys.
Good to see you.
Be safe out there, Chief.
Thank you, Chief.
Yeah. Are we going to wrap up now?
I think
that
so.
handshake hurt
Wow,
me.
Eva
Holy
coming
cow.
at me in the chat.
Really?
Jesus.
Eva's the best.
Yes, she is.
Sick of me.
John, stop being stubborn. Nothing is the matter with any of us.
We're
My
gonna-
12-year-old is fully vaxxed, and we're all fine.
I got the booster a couple
Well,
weeks
tell
ago.
that to
I'm good.
Sweden.
What?
They
I
banned
didn't
the
even have
vaccine.
All right,
reaction.
brother. Be safe.
Thanks, Chief. Be
I'm
safe out there.
I'm going to get the booster as soon as it's offered.
Agree.
I'm waiting on that. I know.
You know,
Me too.
It's a pandemic.
When I got my booster, the nurse giving it to me was like, some people reported it was the same reaction as when they got the second one, and I had no reaction.
Good.
I was totally fine. My arm didn't even hurt. And I got the flu shot at the same time.
I want to get the booster. I'm going to get a flu shot also. And then I'm going to update my measles, mumps, and rubella.
MMR?
Yeah.
Going for it?
Oh, yeah, you should, because I found out that our immune system gets rid of it faster.
Oh.
See?
What about tetanus? How often do we have to have tetanus?
You need to get that every year.
Really?
Whoa, I
gotta
don't.
get that. I'm just going to get a bunch of shots. Like I was in the service again.
Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
They take you to basic and they fill you with a bunch of
Like I said,
vaccines.
they literally give you like 4 or 5 shots at one time.
Mm-hmm.
They have guns, and they have multiple guns. Oh, sorry, multiple guns on your arm at one time, and they go 3, 2, 1.
I saw
with like 5 of them. You're like, ugh.
I saw you at a
It's
campaign
efficient.
stop, and there were a bunch of veterans in the crowd, and they were all shaking their heads like,
Yeah.
"Yep, that's
You'll never
what they
forget
do. That's what they do."
It's so quick too.
And then you said like, I didn't get a choice of like, I don't want 3 and 5.
That's right. Right. They didn't say, oh, would you like measles, mumps, and rubella? Well, how about smallpox? How about tetanus? No. They just go, you're property of the government, right? And by the way, no offense to the officers out there that in Chicago that are holding out, but you're in a similar line of work. You take orders. You put your body in danger, right? You sort of gave up a lot of your rights. When I became a squid, I gave up my rights, and I couldn't negotiate on whether or not I got a shot. When you sign up to be a police officer, you put yourself in the line of danger. You do.
And you're part of the chain of command.
And you have to listen to your bosses. And if you don't want to do that, you don't have to. I couldn't quit the Navy. I couldn't just say, okay, I'm done. I want to go home, Captain, right? I signed up for the Navy. You're a police officer. You could quit. Just quit. Just go, right? Like, go, do something else. I mean, I sympathize with you.
And
if
there
you're
are
really
police
that strong,
officers that have done
that's
that.
right. If
Amen.
you're that strong-willed, then
Yeah.
go find another job. You can't be a police officer and not take orders from
Go
the
work
mayor.
for Senator Braun.
Right, and I'm not. Yeah, go be part of his police force. That's so funny. I'm like, oh, I didn't realize senators had police force. But I tell you what, I guarantee you that a lot of the officers that gave up their job in Chicago are head cases, and the mayor's probably happy to be rid of them. I'll be honest with you, because a lot of the problems you get as mayor comes from the police department, the fire department, and I'm not saying the department as a whole. It comes from a select number of officers, and I imagine these officers are the ones that cause her a lot of problems. So,
And one of the things you've got going for you, Mayor, like even this, you mentioned that your relationship with the FOP is probably as good as it's been.
I love police officers.
Yeah,
I do.
And it's interesting because
they're the good guys.
You are pro-police.
I'm unabashedly pro-police.
And that's why I think it's interesting on this issue. It's important for you as a mayor.
The police know what I'm talking about,
yeah,
Kevin.
Absolutely.
They know. You have to listen to orders. That's part of the gig. If you stop listening to orders, you got to know, what are you going to do? Everybody gets to negotiate with like different bosses. Like, that doesn't work that way. This is a military organization from the top down. The top is the mayor, the bottom is the new employees, and there's a bunch of people in between. And if that doesn't work, then you got to flush out the problems and start fresh.
Yep.
By the way, being a police officer is a great job. Go work in Chicago. It sounds like they got a lot of upcoming openings. Seriously. It's about 35% of hiring going on in Chicago right now. You can make $100,000 a year as a police officer. If I was a good young man or, young boy or girl and I wanted a good career, I'd go to Chicago right now.
Come to Hammond first, though.
Yeah.
So is this, when does this go into effect? Has it by this weekend?
We're already
been
passed. Yeah, John, we're already passed. Now it's legal.
And
but
there's like dual lawsuits going.
But they're not going to win those lawsuits. FOP.
No way. And then, by the way, there is a non-walkout, non-strike clause in the contract.
That's
and this guy, there is a quote from this guy where he said, "Hold the line."
That's right.
Don't don't go. If he said if
against
more of our
federal law,
members,
right?
if so many of our members don't show up, that's going to lie on the footsteps of the. I don't know if it's federal. It's definitely state law.
But
in Illinois.
then
Illinois is a statute.
Mayor Lightfoot's a lawyer and she's smart
and a formal federal
You
prosecutor.
may not think she's a good mayor, and you may be right, but she's a damn good lawyer.
Very good.
So as soon as this dummy from the FOP in Chicago starts saying what he's saying, she's like, "That's a work stoppage."
I love it.
She's using federal terminology, and this dumbass doesn't even realize he's getting lit up by her.
And then he had to back off.
He's going to get indicted by the feds if he keeps on pushing this kind of stuff.
She was a former federal prosecutor. She did a lot of police oversight.
She knows what she's doing.
She knows.
Every lawyer that sees her knows what she's doing.
Yep.
She's trying to pin this guy in a corner, and he'll end up with federal charges.
She's doing a good job of it.
I agree.
So
it's a mess.
Good luck.
Yeah, man.
Stay safe. Wrap us up.
For the record, I'm a humongous supporter of the police department. Not just Hammond. I'm a police officer supporter. And I think that my party has gone astray in that regard, and I'm going to be the kind of guy that pulls us back into supporting the blue. Okay, including the Capitol Police, Todd Young. All right, but the fact is, in this case, you can't have what's going on in Chicago. You have to have the mayor in charge. You have to. It's just like the governor's in charge of the state of Indiana, right? Including the state police. The mayors are in charge of, and the sheriff's in charge. And if we lose that, you got nothing.
A lot of dysfunction.
You got anarchy.
And then public safety is at issue. So
thanks everybody for listening to LOCPOD. We'll be back on Tuesday with a full complement. It's great to have Notorious LMP. Good to see you, sweetheart.
Yay.
Yeah. And then Jay Vez, thank you for another great show. By the way, there was technical difficulties when I was on JOB the other day. Did you notice that?
Oh God, it was hilarious.
I didn't give you.
No, John didn't watch. Remember, he was principal.
I heard.
John,
not all producers are made equally.
John,
bingo.
I was appreciating you that day.
Thank you.
It doesn't happen often.
See, maybe that was a good thing about him going on, John. He knows the difference now.
Yeah, as soon as I get on, Facebook drops. It was
unbelievable. I was laughing my ass off.
He's got a greater appreciation for the Vez.
Temporarily,
the Vez
John,
does a
it'll
pretty
go
good job.
downhill again.
Oh, yeah.
You have to remind him regularly.
Back on Tuesday, I'll be back to my normal Vez hating self. But today,
right. Chat too. Thank you, Chat, for coming at me today.
John's had a great day. John's like, get the weekend here.
He's been quiet and grumpy all day.
You know what's happening.
Good to see the caboose today. Thanks, Kevin Chandler.
Thank you, Mayor.
And I'm about to hit the road, go be a Senate candidate. So
right.
thanks for listening.
Good
I'll
luck.
see everybody on Tuesday. Take care, everybody.